Most people spend years saving money and never actually build real wealth. A man in a plain navy sweater sits by the window reading. No logo on his sweater. No flash on his watch. Nothing allowed. He orders a plain black coffee, pays in cash, and leaves. Quietly. Nobody in that quiet little room could guess what he's actually worth. That's the whole point. And it took him years to learn. 3 years ago, this same man would have driven a different car. Back then, everyone knew exactly how much money he thought he had. He wore it everywhere he went, stitched into every visible choice he made. The watch, the sneakers, the phone case, all of it screaming one message. "Look at me," the message said. "Look how far I've come." But nobody actually looked. Not the way he needed them to look back. Something shifts when a person stops performing wealth and starts protecting it. It doesn't happen in one dramatic moment, the way movies like to suggest. It happens quietly, in small decisions nobody else in the room even notices. He canceled a car upgrade he'd already picked out in his head. He kept the same watch for another year and felt strangely relieved. For the first time, spending less felt like winning something, not losing. Old money doesn't announce itself because it was never trying to convince anyone. New money spends to prove a story that hasn't fully happened yet. Old money already believes the story, so there's nothing left to prove. That difference sounds small, but it quietly rewires how a person moves through life. Picture two men walking into the exact same restaurant on a Friday night. One orders the most expensive bottle on the menu, loud about the price. The other orders what he actually wants and never mentions the number. Not once. The waiter can't tell which man has more money sitting in his accounts. That confusion, that quiet unreadability, is the entire architecture of old money thinking. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear about status and self-worth. Most spending isn't really about the object being purchased in the first place. It's about silencing a voice that whispers, "You haven't proven yourself yet." A new watch doesn't answer that voice. It only postpones the question. And the question always comes back, usually near midnight, staring at a quiet ceiling. Somewhere in his late 20s, he started asking himself a different kind of question. Not, "What can I afford?" but, "What would I still choose in 10 years? That single shift in phrasing quietly changed almost every decision that came after. He stopped buying things to feel rich and started buying things to stay free. Freedom, it turns out, was never really about the size of the number. It was about how few things could still control his very next decision. There's a particular kind of fear that drives most flashy spending, quietly, in silence. It's the fear of being invisible, of mattering to absolutely no one nearby. A luxury bag doesn't buy happiness. It rents a few minutes of being seen, and the rent comes due again the very next morning. Every single time. Old money thinking ends that cycle by simply refusing to pay the rent at all. Think about a family passing a modest, paid-off house through generations. The house isn't impressive, but nobody argues over who owes what on it. Now compare that to a family passing down debt disguised as a beautiful lifestyle. One generation inherits stability, the other quietly inherits an expensive illusion instead. The difference isn't the size of the house, it's the size of the burden. He started noticing this pattern everywhere once he finally knew what to look for. Co-workers, leasing cars they couldn't actually afford to insure, register, or repair. Friends, financing vacations just to post 3 photos and forget the debt existed. It wasn't judgment he felt watching this unfold. It was something closer to grief. Because he used to be exactly that person, performing a life he hadn't built yet. Old money thinking isn't really about having money. And that surprises almost everyone. It's a posture, a way of relating to time, to risk, to other people. It asks one quiet question before every purchase, every deal, every single yes. Will this choice still make sense to me 5 years from right now? Most impulsive spending fails that test instantly. And once he saw it, he couldn't unsee it. There's a scene that keeps replaying whenever he explains this shift to France. His father, years earlier, refusing to replace a perfectly functional kitchen table. It still works, his father said. And young him, he rolled his eyes hard. He understands that sentence completely now, and it costs him nothing to admit. Old money doesn't chase newness. It quietly chases things that still simply work. Something else changes when a person adopts this mindset. Something almost invisible. People start trusting him differently, without being able to explain exactly why. Business partners relax around him, the way people relax around something solid. Because nobody fully trusts a person who looks one bad month from total collapse. Calm reads as competence, even when nobody can name the actual reason. He remembers the exact meeting where this became undeniable to him personally. A potential investor kept glancing at his shoes throughout the entire pitch. Not designer shoes, just clean, simple, well-kept, unremarkable in every way. Later, the investor admitted something that stuck with him for a long time. You didn't look like you needed my money, so I trusted you more. Desperation has a smell, and people can sense it before the words even arrive. Old money thinking removes the desperation, even when the bank account stays thin. It replaces urgency with patience, and patience becomes its own kind of wealth. The irony is almost cruel. The calmer you look, the more opportunities arrive. Power works differently once a person stops needing to prove they have it. He noticed it first in arguments he used to feel desperate to win. Old money doesn't argue loudly because it was never afraid of being wrong. It can afford to lose a small argument without losing its sense of self. That kind of calm isn't weakness. It's the deepest form of quiet power. Respect changed too, in a way that surprised him more than the money did. People used to laugh loudest around him, then forget him the moment he left. Now, people go quiet when he speaks, and they remember what he actually said. Being impressive got him attention, but being solid finally got him respect instead. Let's talk about what actually happens to a person's identity during this shift. For years, his identity was built entirely on external, visible proof of success. The car proved something. The watch proved something. The apartment proved something else. Strip away the props, and underneath, there was a frightening kind of emptiness. That emptiness is exactly what old money thinking eventually forces a person to face. Without the props, who are you really when nobody is watching you perform? That question terrified him for months before it finally started to set him free. He had to rebuild an identity that didn't depend on anyone else's eyes. Slowly, painfully, he built something sturdier than any car or watch could offer. He built a relationship with himself that didn't need constant public renewal anymore. This is the part nobody puts in the highlight reel or the caption. Before the calm, there's a genuinely uncomfortable stretch of feeling completely unseen. Friends stopped commenting on his life because there was less to comment on. Some mistook the quiet for failure, assuming things must be going badly now. He had to sit with that discomfort and resist the urge to explain himself. Here's a line worth remembering, because it will change how you spend forever. Visibility and value are not the same thing, no matter how they feel. The most valuable things in his life became the ones nobody could see. Savings, nobody applauding. Boundaries, nobody photographed. Patience, nobody could ever turn into content. Loneliness showed up too, in a shape he didn't recognize at first glance. Not the loneliness of having no one, but of being finally understood by few. Old friends wanted the version of him that needed their applause to survive. The new version didn't need applause. And some friendships, quietly, couldn't survive that. He grieved them honestly, then let them go, without turning it into a lesson. Old money families understand something most people only learn the hard, expensive way. Wealth that gets spent loudly rarely survives past the person who first earned it. Wealth that gets protected quietly tends to outlive the person entirely. On purpose. This isn't about greed. It's about respecting money enough to let it work. He started treating money less like a trophy and more like a tool. Tools don't need to be shown off in order to function properly. Ever. A hammer doesn't need applause to drive a nail successfully into solid wood. Money, used correctly, works the exact same quiet, unglamorous way every single time. Relationships change too, in ways he genuinely didn't expect when this all started. People who liked the performance drifted away, slowly without any dramatic confrontation. People who valued substance started staying, without him having to convince anyone at all. He realized the flashy version of himself had been a filter the whole time. It filtered in the wrong people, and it filtered out the ones worth actually keeping. Even love looked different once he stopped performing to feel worthy of it. He used to date the way he spent, trying to impress someone into. The relationship that finally lasted began the quietest, least impressive way possible. She never once asked what he drove, only whether he kept his word. There's a particular silence that settles over a life built this way, eventually. Not an empty silence, but a full one. Like a room after good news. No one's performing, no one's proving, no one's checking who's still impressed today. Just people, sitting together, unhurried, with nothing left to prove to anyone. Purpose shifted last, quietly, after everything else had already fallen into place. Money stopped being about him and slowly started being about who came next. He began building things that wouldn't even benefit him for another 20 years. A trust fund, a paid-off house, a habit tossed down instead of debt. Security, he realized, was never really the goal for himself alone. Not anymore. He thinks back often to that man in the coffee shop from before. Not a stranger, not a character, just an earlier, quieter version, watching himself. The sweater without a logo isn't hiding wealth. It's simply done negotiating with it. He no longer needs the room to know his number, to feel secure. That's the whole transformation. Hiding in plain sight the entire time it happened. It was never really about the money, even though it looked that way. It was about no longer needing the world to confirm his own worth. And once that need quietly disappeared, everything else rearranged itself calmly around it. The coffee shop empties out a little more as the morning keeps moving forward. He folds his newspaper, leaves exact change, and nods once at the barista. Nothing about the moment is loud, and that's exactly how he wants it. Somewhere outside, a car alarm chirps, expensive, flashy, and completely unnecessary today. He doesn't look up.